Calm down. Don't you have an easy way to figure this out? You were only designated as number 36. What a shame. From what I can see, your talents merit a smaller number. Putting aside the validity of the data, it is meaningless to judge individuals based solely on their jnana energy.
What you said to Ilias has now become a memory shared by all members of the Hive. I see it now! You've channeled and amplified their selfish desires! You're trying to destroy my Hive from the inside out!
Human minds are not infinitely pliable, and your Hive has stretched many of them to their limit. Once your authority as Overmind starts to wane, it won't be long before your subjects snap back. Is it worth living here like a machine? Being a tool for the rest of my life? As soon as one person begins to have these thoughts, selfishness, doubt, and fear will propagate, thanks to the web of consciousness that you built. At this stage, your so-called Hive has already fallen.
It's not over yet. I am the Overmind! There has to be a way!
It's too late. Once the desires of the Hive accumulate, beyond a certain threshold, they will kill their king.
Wouldn't have suffered such a disgraceful defeat if I was the Overmind.
My number shouldn't be so far down the list! Siraj is a liar!
This isn't what we agreed to!
I should be the one in your position!
The name Siraj doesn't ring a bell. Was he in your class?
He isn't someone who would leave an impression, so it's expected that you don't remember him.
I've always had a hard time appreciating the way that the academia pressures people by labeling them as geniuses. But even so, the academia can't be left to you. Or perhaps I should say that I'm delighted to see that you have a base amount of self-awareness. If the people in the academia haven't gone mad, they'd know that I'm much more suited.
And I suppose they'd let everyone know that your career as a sage will be as shaky as that painting.
Again, that's mighty rich coming from someone about to resign. In a few days, you'll be managing files again.
But my salary will likely stay the same.
Wait, what? How come? What?
At least I don't have to be an architectural designer who works himself to death just to get a smile from his client.
You... I took time out of my day to clean the living room for you, and this is the thanks I get for it? I'd have been better off catching up on my work!
Make sure to pay back the rent you owe me. I'm going to buy some furniture with that Mora.
What? Are you trying to annoy me to death? The decorations you buy keep getting ugly.
You'll have to blame that on my financial freedom.
Fine. Go ahead and hide behind your financial success if you want. But if we forget Mora for a second...
I think I'd have too many choices, to be honest. You, on the other hand. Can you think of any redeeming features at all?
Artistry, for sure. You don't know the first thing about interior...
So I'll have to bring you along and then buy you drinks?
Of course.
But why would I do that? It would just be another form of a loan, and you'd have to pay me back eventually.
Can't you just be nice and not ask for the Mora?
Pretending that you're not in debt is as ridiculous as pretending you're not living in someone else's home.
Speaking of which, your friends won't say anything, right? Tell them to keep all this a...
There's no need to hide it so carefully. I think the truth's already out. You're such a lightweight that a few drinks at the tavern had you spilling all your beans.
What?
In times gone by, one quarreled oft with Guizhong concerning mechanical principles. We each had our ideals, and neither would yield. Under the pretext of a social gathering, one invited the impartial Rex Lapis to judge the quality of our creations. But Rex Lapis declared that Guizhong's Obscuro Vulpus mechanism was superior. Though one was too proud to acknowledge it, in one's heart, one knew that Guizhong was indeed the superior talent in the mechanical arts. As for the story between Guizhong and Streetward Rambler, that begins with a certain bell. In Guizhong's opinion, while mechanisms were no substitute for human composers, they were yet capable of producing simple but fine melodies. But Streetward Rambler believed music to be an expression of the soul, an emotional enterprise that could never hope to be replicated by machinery. They argued endlessly, until one asked Rex Lapis to intercede. He confiscated the bell and designated it for ceremonial use. Thereafter, one would often find them convening in the mountains, discussing music, mechanics, and all the affairs of the mortal world. But these good times were not to last. War broke out between the gods, and soon engulfed the Guili Plains. Guizhong was overpowered by the enemy, and fell in battle. When Streetwood Rambler and I arrived at the scene at long last, all that remained among the ruins was her lifeless body. After this, at Streetwood Rambler's request, Rex Lapis granted her the cleansing bell for safekeeping. To honor our friend's memory, one made a few finishing touches to her ballistic device. Many lantern rites have passed since then. Many greetings and goodbyes. Upon what do you gaze? The Guili Plains?
No. It's everything. We think of human life as like a lantern that's lit one minute and extinguished the next. But are we Adepti so different? Perhaps as dust settles after a storm, we too must one day return to the world below.
What's wrong? I've never seen someone look so confused before. Well, don't worry, because Director Who's here to explain it all. There once was a Fontaine musician who went around town on a mission. He came door to door for his iridescence tour, looking for acts to audition. With my words, Shinyan's chords, and Yunjin as our mentor, we'll take the stage by storm with flames roaring and the whole audience calling for more.
For sure! The whole dance floor will be yelling encore! Encore!
I'm honored to be here on the Iridescence Tour stage. All right, without further ado, I'm Xinyan, this is Tao, and this is a little something called...
The Blaze Lilies!
I'm up here blazing trails through the midnight sky, lighting up the world below. And when the crowds all hear my voice, they'll meet the spirit of rock and roll.
Let's go! Hey, you butterfly, you two buzzing by, guiding your way to the afterlife, opening the path without a fright. Oh, I'll light the fire, watch it blaze across the universe. I'll spit my rhymes, watch your step, or you'll get burned. Hey, woo!
Yeah!
Does anyone have any plans tomorrow? With another year behind us, I think we deserve a celebration of our own. My treat. Interested?
The Tianquan footing the bill? I can't miss out on that.
May the year ahead be a blessed one.
I believe it shall be.
Master, the Xiao lanterns,
Ha! Elementary. One shall fashion for you a Xiao lantern the likes of which the world has never seen. And you must take it to Liyue Harbor to display its magnificence for all.
Listen! That must be Mana Ping!
Seeds of story, brought by the wind.
And cultivated by time. Did Paimon just unconsciously complete that saying? That voice. Could it be?
If I'm not mistaken, there's someone knocking at the door. Don't just sit there, Zhongli. Go welcome our guest in.
No such need. I'm coming in. You finally let me in. Hello, hello. No matter if we've met before or not, this moment marks a brand new encounter. Old friends and new, happy Lantern Rite.
Oh, it's the tone-deaf bard.
Oh, he seems to carry a valiant breeze wherever he goes. It looks like we're gonna be friends. Fate has brought us together, so come on, take a seat and be my guest. Help yourself. Oh, I'll ask them for another set of cutlery.
This young lady here is as bright as a fresh bouquet of flowers in the morning's rising sun. She no doubt is the one with the most authority here. Whoa, these dishes look amazing. Is it really okay for me to join in? All right, I'm digging in.
Could this new guest be Master Xingqiu's friend?
Yes, yes. Monsters become more active than usual as we get closer to Lantern Rite. I was patrolling Dihua Marsh a few days ago, when I happened to run into this...
You've already forgotten? I'm a bard, remember?
I'm Zhongli, currently working at the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor. It's a pleasure to meet you, new friend.
And I'm his boss. Oh, and if there's anything unsatisfactory, let me know anytime. Not to brag, but our consultant truly is impressive. His knowledge extends across the stars and the land, and there's nothing throughout history that he doesn't know. From the sophisticated way he speaks, it's hard not to suspect that he could very well be an Adeptus in disguise. Xiao, you're an Adeptus. Do you think it might be possible?
Really? I've actually heard a few things about Mr. Zhongli before. The guests in the tavern talked about this refined and courteous man who, instead of having wine at Mondstadt's finest tavern, ordered a cup of hot tea with the most complex name.
Now that you mention it, I seem to recall that there indeed is a musician like yourself in Mondstadt. I've heard that he's elegant and amiable, his works witty and vibrant. It's no overstatement to regard him as the best bard in Mondstadt.
Now you're making me embarrassed.
But speaking of, why is the tone-deaf bard here? Are you here to take part in Lantern Rite too?
I heard that Liyue will be hosting a Lantern Rite music festival this year. As a musician myself, how could I possibly resist the temptation to come take a look? Or listen. Getting to know other musical styles is essential to sparking inspiration, don't you think?
As for the Fontaine friend who hosted the festival, I saw him near Stone Gate the other day. The Iridescence tour has finally been held successfully for once, so I had to congratulate him. Don't think anything of it. By the way, I was watching as you entered Shinyue Kiosk, but no one seemed to notice me. Should I say that it's because I'm an expert in hiding, or that a certain someone deliberately ignored the sound of the wind?
Whenever Lantern Rite comes around, Liyue Harbor becomes bustling with activity. People are all busy watching the lanterns and strolling around the shops, and they might just go travel somewhere on a whim. It is rather difficult to predict another's whereabouts. The festival is in full swing and proceeding smoothly, and we're all gathered here with friends, new and old. This is no doubt a wonderful occasion worth celebrating. To come together with all of you at the beginning of the year, one can't help but be filled with joy. In a moment like this, I propose we raise a glass together. In my case, tea in lieu of wine. It seems like our new friend is an expert in wine.
I deserve no such praise. I only drink for fun. It's nothing compared to your expertise. I'm glad we're only having tea today. What if I got drunk and said something nonsensical? I'd surely become an object of ridicule to someone I've just met.
No such thing. I wouldn't dare disrespect the director's guest.
But this time... No. I didn't mean that. So you know his true identity. I'll get straight to the point then. The Anemo Archon is a free spirit, and his temperament is as carefree as the music he plays on the flute. It's easy for a god like him to live in harmony with humans, and that's something I might never be able to do.
I see. Perfect symbolism, as expected of Hu Tao. And speaking of the most distinguished guest here today, I'm sure we all agree that it's Mr. Zhongli. I'm not very familiar with the details of his past deeds, but chatting with him has been a real eye-opener, even for a bard who has traveled all across the world. If knowledge were a form of power, one could even say that you're a wielder of unlimited strength.
But when it comes to having a way with words, the notable bard is certainly one cut above the rest. I just happen to have a good memory. It is such an unexceptional skill, yet you made it sound like an unparalleled talent. I am truly impressed. Since we all get to nominate someone... I think it's only fair that we let the parlor director light the incense.
Huh? That won't do. Don't flatter me just because I'm your boss. We are looking for the most distinguished guest here. As the host, I shouldn't be involved in this discussion at all. Now that we've enjoyed this table full of delicacies, how about we let our one and only chef here do the honors?
Is this really the way this works? I didn't cook any of these dishes.
It's not a big deal. Just look at her. Xiangling, the disciple of an Adeptus, the Stove God's best companion, the winner of the Masterful Chef's competition. The only heir of the famous One Mean restaurant. A good old friend of mine. There's no better choice.
Why does Paimon feel like we're back at square one again? Please stop! You're making me embarrassed. If we're looking for a distinguished guest, surely the second son of the Feiyun Commerce Guild counts. It's one of the largest commerce guilds in Liyue Harbor.
Huh? Don't get me involved in this.
Ooh, not a bad choice. With the Commerce Guild's young master lighting the incense, we're all sure to make a huge sum of mora in the new year.
That's not how it works. Making a fortune is indeed a fine wish, but it's of lesser importance than good health and happiness. Which means we should choose Chongyun, the skilled exorcist who keeps everyone's home safe from evil spirits.
Huh? Now you're nominating me? I can't be the one when we have the Conqueror of Demons right here. Adeptus Xiao has the most seniority among everyone here today. We should...
I refuse. I am most certainly not the most distinguished guest here. You should all be able to make the right judgment based on your observations. One person here is well acquainted with everyone else.
Oh, that's right! Even though you're always mocking Paimon, you're still pretty popular with other people. No, wait! Paimon said she wouldn't talk to you again. Huh? Who else is there? Huh? Does that mean Paimon's the most distinguished guest? Oh, well, that was
I agree. Paimon's just the one we need. Without a friend constantly by your side, a long journey would become dreadfully lonesome. But once you have someone there to brighten up the atmosphere, everything along the way will become lively and vibrant too.
Ah, the traveler has traversed many nations and left behind a great deal of fascinating stories. But without Paimon, they would have become quite monotonous. Paimon plays an indispensable role in making your journey a happy and smooth one.
You guys! Paimon's not used to being praised like that. Those were genuine compliments, right? Thank you. You made Paimon wait for a long time, but Paimon's not mad anymore.
Don't take everything to heart, Paimon. Friends tease each other all the time.
That is indeed true.
That means Paimon is as important to the Traveler as Guoba is to me. Looks like we've come to an agreement. Any objections before we proceed?
I trust the Traveler's judgment.
Then Paimon it is. And now, the world's most excellent traveler's greatest companion, guide, and friend, Paimon, will be refilling and lighting the incense for us. Here you go. Take the match, and don't burn yourself. But if things go really wrong, here's the 2-for-1 coupon.
Besides, taking care of a library is important work. I've never considered it a waste of my time. Wisdom is hidden in every corner of the world. Never underestimate wisdom, no matter how small it may appear. That's what our teacher always said. Speaking of which, what about you two? What brings my favorite cuties to Sumeru? I see. Even I didn't expect them to be so bent on their pursuit. Wanting to even surpass the god. Sounds like you were involved in some remarkable events again, and I was completely unaware. And to think, you were even able to handle a crisis of that magnitude. Cutie, your abilities are really beyond measure. Having accomplished such a feat, I'm sure you must have a lot on your plate right now. I was actually thinking about inviting you two to walk around Sumeru with me. What a pity. It's very rare for us to meet like this. Oh, then would you like to spend some time with me, darling? That would be wonderful.
Hey!
It's amazing how much the Traveler has grown. I wonder what the future holds in store.
To tell you the truth, I've been hoping for an opportunity to spar with you ever since we first met. That wish was half fulfilled today at the exhibition match. Sure. But until then, make sure you take good care of your sword. If I ever manage to steal it one day, your life will also be in my hands. I've always wanted to say something like that. Did it sound strange?
Hey, what's the holdup here? What are you talking about?
We were just talking about having a match to determine which of us is the superior sword fighter.
Wow, you are so serious when it comes to swordsmanship. But aren't you friends with the Traveler? Why do you need a match?
It's precisely because we're friends that we should spar often and learn from each other.
Oh, guess that kinda makes sense.
Traveler, keep all I just said a secret?
Huh? What did Ayaka say?
Nothing. Let's get going.
Then we'll just send out flying Lavender. Nope. If Flying Lavender Melon's representing the Arataki gang, we gotta rise to the occasion. We'll need a better title. Got it. We'll send Skycleaving White Iron Lavender Melon out to teach you a lesson!